tractors nearby.
You don't think so? You got the tractor on the road. Don't think the tractor could pull you?
We can watch a tractor go by. So here we are. We got serious issues because we were like in the middle of nowhere. What are we gonna do? 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 Hey, we need you to wave down this dude. Because we're in an electric car. And we're a little bit freaked out. Maybe if you butt wiggle. Got your fancy electric car there, don't move no more. We're down to 3%. We need a charge.
All right, we can do this right here.
Right here, right now?
Right here, right now.
Yay! For this run, I actually bought a brand new tow strap. This is the first time we're going to use it. Haha! I've never actually hooked a tow strap up to this, so I don't know exactly what it entails. Battery for me to open the trunk. I watched the video too. I thought it was right here. Oh, it's up here. According to that one video. Oh, but that was an S. That was an S. Yeah, you might be right. It might be that thing. So, Google? Okay, fine.
2 hours later.
Okay, so this goes in here. So it will catch.
A few moments later.
Hey, guess what? You gotta put it in backwards.
Reverse thread?
Yep. I don't know.
Reverse thread there.
I don't know.
Dumb.
That does not seem like the smartest thing. Okay. And then this goes on here.
Okay, you can tighten up. Wanted to talk about what inspired this video. It was my son Hayes and I were down driving down to Bullfrog in the middle of freaking nowhere. We drove down to Lake Powell and we arrived on 47% battery with no way to get back. So eking the way back, I kept thinking, what would I do to get more charge given wherever I'm at? And it's pretty obvious you can't just throw a generator in the car.
Okay, so we're getting about 12 miles to the gallon so far, going about 30 miles an hour. So from here, let's have you see. Do you think we need to pull over and have you start charging, or do you think you can do it?
I want to pull over. I don't want to drop it into drive at this speed.
Fair enough. Pulling over. Here we go. Oh, that's some. Oh, well, you got some resistance there already.
Yeah, I can see the green bar coming up. Hey, don't go a lot faster. I'm with 3% charging right now.
Okay, we're going about 15 miles an hour, getting 2.7 miles to the gallon right now.
2.7 miles to the gallon?
Yeah, you got some serious juice coming off of that thing.
That. See how much green we're charging? Look at all the juice we're getting. We're off the charts on how fast it's dumping energy into the battery right now. It's over 300 watt hour miles right now going in. That's as deep as the reading is. I don't think I would go much faster than this because I don't know where their charging circuitry starts to limit out. This would be like coming down about a 7 or 8% grade hill, I think. But we've picked up 1% of battery already. We've gone, what, like a mile?
Yeah, so I'm cruise control at 30 right now. We're topping out at about 4.1 miles to the gallon.
So this is a good way for me to take your diesel energy and turn it into my battery energy.
Exactly. Science.
5%.
Woohoo! Science!
5%.
Hey, look, we made it to 5%. So, thinking about it, when you start working out the math, they gotta have a pretty beefy onboard charger if they're gonna do regenerative charging when you slam on the brakes or you come to a stop. It's gonna be way, 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 way better than like shoving a Honda generator in your trunk. If I shoved a generator in my trunk, you start looking at the numbers, 2,000 watt generator, I'd be like 4 hours to get 2%. And I've already picked up 2% and you've driven all of like 3 minutes.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where it tops out at. I don't know.
Well, I'm already, my green line is like 70% to the left. I might dare go a little bit faster, but not a lot. We're up to 6% already. We're currently averaging a negative 323 watt-hour miles. We're making energy faster than we normally burn it going down the road at like 90 right now. One of the things that I try to teach people when I'm talking about all this electrical engineering crap that most people just don't realize is every motor is a generator. And every controller, when it's made the most efficient way possible, is already got a built-in feature to regenerate. Regenerative braking's a natural consequence of good design.
Right, and that's one of the reasons why electrical motors are really the future, is because they're so versatile and there's so many few moving parts.
Yeah, it's so little to go in, yet you get so much out of it. Being able to regenerate power when you come to a stop is something I've always been fascinated by. And according to my screen, we're averaging minus almost 600 watt hours per mile right now getting pushed into the batteries.
Yeah, we're at 4.4 average miles to the gallon right now, going 40.
And I'm up to 8% battery already. And it's been all of just a few minutes. Tow charging a Tesla. This is a success. So just go ahead and come on down. It should just brake you as we stop. This is kind of the cool thing. I don't have to ride the brakes in a tow. I'm just not pushing the gas.
Cool, pulling over.
So we averaged about 4.6 miles to the gallon. What's that?
We turn around and go back, and we do a shot where I manage the speed of the car to control the charge rate.
So just turn around?
Little unsure doing it without, let me just unhook real quick and then I'll just turn around and we'll hook back up.
I realized I have to tap the gas so that the Tesla doesn't sit in the hold mode, because it basically puts the brakes on so you can't start until I touch the gas. Okay, I can accelerate a little bit and I can see my charge ability go away, and your gas mileage should probably be changed. I can accelerate a little bit, your gas mileage should be changing right now.
Yeah, it's going way up.
Okay, I'm gonna set the cruise right about here. Of course, right now it's probably freaking out due to the fact that I'm really close to you. Hadn't thought about that. Yeah, this isn't gonna work. At least not with the cruise, because my car thinks I'm tailgating you too hard and it's putting on the brakes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
one of the things as we get into the higher speeds, the motors will generate more power, so slight changes on the throttle will dramatically change the amount of energy I'm producing to charge the car.
Right.
We're already back to 14% battery in this little 20-minute exercise so far.
Yeah, so we peaked at what, 1100 watts per mile?
Oh, I'm like 1400 watts per mile right now, according to the average coming through the screen. The screen won't scale like this. I don't think they ever expected it to read that, so there's just sort of a little tag on it that tells me I'm at 1300. I think we hit 14 at one point. What you can think of it though is, if I normally drive, I burn up about 300 watt hours every mile when I'm in my typical driving, 280, 300. They're rated as about 270. So right now, for every mile you're towing me, I could go 3 miles is about what you could think of it. Maybe 4, kind of depending. If I average 300, that'd be about 1200. So every mile you tow me, right now, I could drive 4 miles on my own. So, you know, this actually math would be pretty simple.
Yeah, I definitely want to run through it once we get back to the house. So that's actually a good answer to your question. If you're out in the middle of nowhere and someone said, oh yeah, I'm taking this exit in about 20 miles, you can know, oh yeah, he'll take me about 20 miles and I'll get about 60 miles of range out of it.
Exactly. It's a pretty easy calculation to do once you kind of get your head around it.
And that being said, this is all at 40 miles an hour, so who knows where the limit is on something like this.
I'd for sure not ever push the green line past what their gauge is able to show. That would be a limit I wouldn't go beyond. But right now the car seems to be handling it just fine. It's doing the same job it would be doing if I were coasting down a really, really long hill and shoving energy back into the batteries.
Right.
Well, sir, I got plenty of juice to get back home, so whenever you're good, we can unhitch and take off.
Well, probably just right up here then.
You can hear the fans running. Yeah. So the onboard charger's working hard right now. Right. Because it'd have to do that to get cool, and it needs to be able to do that.
How to do the math for Pete. If someone with a diesel truck pulled up and agreed to this, how much do you owe them in energy?
How much do you owe them gas?
Yeah.
Right?
Alrighty, meet you back at home. First things first is to figure out how much energy we produced, and then we can figure out how much cost in diesel that energy was, right?
Because it's all about the energy.
All about the energy. Energy to energy to energy.
You know, while you're thinking about that, one thing that doesn't get pointed out very often, I calculated this the other day.
Okay.
This is all about the energy. Is electricity really cheaper than, say, diesel? And that's what makes a car cheaper to drive. Or is a car just cheaper to drive because it's more efficient?
Right.
Well, if you do the math, the battery in my car is 7,600 kilowatt hours.
It's 2 tanks of gas. 2 tanks of diesel, or 2 gallons of gas.
About 1.9 something gallons of diesel. Since convenient because we're using a diesel truck, right? Mm-hmm. So about 1.9 gallons of diesel. So call it 2 gallons of diesel
At $6.
at $6, and I can drive, say, if I play it exactly like Tesla's ratings, 300 miles. Really? Call it 250 the way I drive. But that's pretty easy to think about.
Mm-hmm.
You drove 250 miles on 2 gallons of diesel. You got 125 miles to gallon.
Right.
It's pretty obvious that it's mostly efficiency. Which is the point, is it takes a lot less, you lose less juice going from the battery to the wheel to the road.
Right.
That's what that means.
Right, and so if you're actually to take, say, 35 kilowatt hours as a gallon of diesel, right?
about. Say 10 cents a kilowatt hour is a little
Yeah,
on the
10.
expensive side.
We're
but,
close to 11, I think. What I pay them, I think.
But so what? That's talking 35 kilowatt hours. That's 3.5. $3.50 for that same amount of energy. So
Exactly.
technically, the electricity is more expensive than the diesel purely energy-wise.
Which
The electric motors are just more efficient by 5 times, 10 times.
And to sort of add to that, if you look it up, most of our electricity today is generated by coal and diesel generators. So what you said actually makes complete sense.
Right.
Somebody bought a gallon of diesel, they spun a generator, they charged you a little bit more. So yeah, I'm paying the markup on that diesel already once.
Right.
But the car is so efficient that to my pocketbook, it's a way better deal.
Correct. So to get into the details, because devil's always in the details.
We went 1,400 watt hour per mile. That divided by 10. Oh, that's really hard math.
I'm gonna run my
140.
numbers over here. So 40.
we put in 140 watt hours into the battery, roughly.
I thought that was 100. I thought that was 1,400 watt hours per mile.
Oh, you're right.
So
Oh,
that
that's
would be a
times 10.
multiple, not a.
You're absolutely right. That makes more sense. I need to fix that.
Because you're taking your miles, multiplying it
You're
across, right?
I gotta times.
So you're talking
miles, 10 miles,
14,000.
14,000.
So 14 kilowatt hours
Yeah.
is how much energy we did in that 10 miles.
right.
So 14 kilowatt hours. That's our energy. Okay, so we were at 14 before. So my calculations is that we were doing, let's see, 140 watt hours. We were doing 15 watt hours a second. So watt hours times by 36, 55.
Oh, 55.
50,
Yeah,
sorry,
I'll say,
words
yeah.
are hard. 55 kilowatts, that's half of a supercharger. That's almost double what your wall can do.
Oh, it's more than double. I just want to check my wall. My wall's dropping in about 10. It's 5 times faster than what, at least when I went out and took a picture of what I'm currently dumping in.
Okay, so we're at 55 kilowatts.
But yeah, it is
Technically
faster than you can
56.
charge in your garage.
Correct.
With the high-end charger.
Yes.
That's, I think, kind of important to know.
Well, it's faster than anything other than a supercharger, as far as I am aware. So, to do the math on how much energy this actually costs, we were getting about 14 miles to the gallon in the diesel when you were in neutral, just
Okay.
pulling with the tow. And we dropped down to about 4.5 when
Now-
you were in...
Which begs the question. If we're going to pay the guy for the diesel he spent, are we going to pay him for the diesel he used only to charge us and not for the tow and call the tow part free?
I mean, if it is a diesel, it's very minute. Like,
know.
that was the kind of the point of the diesel.
I can get close to 15 miles to the gallon without
Yeah.
towing anything, so it
Right.
did have an impact. But go ahead.
Okay,
you're
so-
trying to figure out how much
so
we
we're
need to actually
spending-
charge you. But I'm gonna say this. Maybe when I was a poor college student, I might have only paid for the gas used to charge. If you're gonna do this in real life,
Yeah, definitely.
pay the guy for all his gas because he pulled over to help you.
Right. This is... I feel like my math skills are failing me here. Miles.
A gallon for 10 miles to charge me. So we spent a gallon of diesel. We spent $3 charging my car on the street just now, and it took us.
That sounds way too optimistic, though.
Spoiler alert, it was. This is present Nate telling past Nate he was dumb. We used 30 cents a mile for a bunch of benchmarks, which is inaccurate. The 40 cents a mile for towing is much more accurate, and 60 cents a mile for your total fuel consumption is about where most diesels are going to end up. So we used some figures like $10 for 30 miles. No, that's not anywhere near reality. It's actually double that. Enjoy the show, and we just want to make sure that no friendly diesel owners were getting screwed over because we gave you misinformation.
Why?
Because if you're talking $3 for the,
55.
well,
we put in
for 15
14,000
minutes.
kilowatt hours. 14,000 kilowatt hours, and my thing out here is at 11 cents per kilowatt hour is what?
$1.40.
So we spent $1.40 charging my car the same amount, and it cost us
That's
$3 to charge it pulling it on the diesel. That's really not that far off. And when you start considering you've got additional losses in there because
you have the
we're
diesel
dragging the car,
and
the diesel's got
you have
losses, all that stuff going on.
aerodynamics.
It really actually, that number actually makes complete sense.
That does make sense.
It makes complete sense. Just straight up facts. We pulled over with 3% battery.
Right.
Now, I would never ever recommend doing this on a dead battery because you need to be able to get the car moving a little bit.
Right.
The Tesla has its hold
Position.
symbol comes up, the hold
Right.
symbol comes up, and I had to tap on that so that when you started rolling, it wouldn't just sit there and hold you back.
Right.
But what was really cool for anybody that's towed a car before, usually when you're in the car being towed, you kind of have to ride the brakes to keep that strap tight, so you don't have to jerking around and slamming things. The Tesla did that for me. Once we started rolling, I just sat there and steered.
Right.
And the car, because it's regenerating all the power, was keeping the strap tight the whole time. It was actually easier to be towed in a Tesla than in a
any
normal
other
car.
Right.
Because of that feature. And so on the plus side, not only am I getting a tow moving the direction I need to go, I'm building up energy moving the direction I need to go, so I don't have to tow as long.
Right. So
imagine if you ran out of gas 100 miles away from somewhere.
Right.
And somebody called you up, and you need 100 miles of range. So, say you're down and you need 100 miles of energy to get somewhere. That's like 30% battery in my car, right?
Right.
Well, in roughly 10 miles at 30 to 40 miles an hour, we added back 15% battery.
Which will do 30 miles, 40 miles?
Pretty easily. 43 is what it said when I unhooked and came home. So, if you think about it, say you're 100 miles away from a gas station, you get a guy to pull you over, he doesn't have to pull you 100 miles.
He only has to pull you like 25, 30 miles.
Like 20 miles, and you've got plenty of juice to get to your next charge stop.
So basically the cost to him on diesel is about, as we are averaging, about 30 cents a mile.
Yeah, it probably cost him the same as if he towed you the 100 miles. He just doesn't have to tow you that far. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you start thinking through the math. So
right.
You could wave a buddy down and it'd be like, dude, will you just tow me? I'll give you $10. Just tow me for
tow me
20
30 miles. Here's $10.
Here's $10, $20 even, just for the inconvenience.
Extras. Yep.
And he could tow you 20 miles and you could go another 70.
Yep.
Really, really easy. In a lot of ways, I think this proves yet another potential superiority of electric vehicles that I don't think anybody's even thought about till now. One of the reasons I have a fairly high confidence level that you can push this regenerative pretty high is fundamentally in a car like this, you have the motor is going to be something like it's going to be something like this. I'm going to have either
your 3 poles.
I have 3 poles of a brushless motor.
Well, that one's
brushless
technically
AC
brushed,
motor.
but
No, it's not. It's
Oh, really?
brushless. Yeah, it's the Teslas use what's called a PMAC motor, permanent magnet AC motor, which is another fancy word for brushless DC. Is what that really means for people in it. It actually is more descriptive and probably more accurate. But the point is I have these 3 phases in the windings,
right.
and each one of those phases is driven by some sort of bridge that looks something like this between the battery and the power of the device, and that goes to one of these windings. And so what happens is power switches into the winding and out of the winding, and it cycles around it cycles to spin the stator around in circles. But here's the thing. all the power you're getting out of it when it's regenerating is going through the same electronics that you use to accelerate. Fundamentally, it has to.
Right.
It has to go through the same electronics you're using to accelerate. All the power in regen is going through the same electronics. You would have to go out of your way to design a system that wasn't as tough in regenerative braking as it is in acceleration. Anyway, I just thought it was pretty cool. All in all, I was really happy how well it worked and how fast it was taking on the charge, not really seeming to hurt anything.
Right.
You know?
And that's really where the next question is like, what's the upper limit on this thing? Because realistically, if you're stuck on the side of a freeway, it's 80 miles an hour, like, it's too dangerous to try to force yourself to go 40.
Well,
right? So it might be in our best interest in a future episode when
to go like 60.
To go 60 or plus to see
Now-
what kind of potential problems there are there. Not saying we do that with your Tesla, but
we might do that when this video hits a gajillion hits and we get another extra Tesla.
yeah, the broken Tesla.
The broken Tesla. And, I'm going to stick my little,
Yeah.
Tesla code at the bottom of this video so all you guys can link to
it if you need
when you
to,
buy your Tesla, I can get some free supercharging because I just gave you a good way to get out of an electric pickle. But it was a heck of a lot of fun. And to top it off, what I thought was hilarious is right after you left, a guy pulled over. I was putting the tow strap away and putting away the eye hook, and I had my hood up, and I just closed my hood, and a guy in a pickup pulled over, asked me if I needed a tow. So
Exactly what you needed.
I was like, exactly what I would have needed in this situation. And he was nice enough. We talked a little bit, and it was a lot of fun. Maybe we'll throw his clip up here too, so you guys can see. There's good people out there that would be totally willing to give you a tow when your Tesla is out of juice. So here was the deal. What we were doing is I wanted to see if I could use because these regenerative brake, when they go downhill, they pump energy back into the battery, right? So what we did is we took a piece of truck, we pulled it down the road and let it regenerate power, just to see if it would work well, right? We showed up here with 3%, we pulled it all the way to Lewiston and back, and I got 14% charge.
You went to Trenton.
So, Trenton, yeah.
So it'll do it.
Yeah, no problem. Anyway, this is way cool. You showed up and pulled over while I was sitting here. That's exactly what I would hope would happen if I was out stranded in the middle of nowhere.
Somebody'd stop.
Somebody pulled over in the truck and like, dude, I'll give you $20.
Yeah,
I'll give you $20. Just pull me a couple of miles, I'll be good to go. Anyway, it was awesome to see you.
Good.
Thanks, man. I
Yeah,
really
you bet.
appreciate it. Take care.